I honestly, when I think of a grazing network, I think of almost a support group. I don't know how else to explain it, but just a group of people that come together, share their knowledge, and help people along that are just starting out. That's what I think of. I think of it as educational. It's a commitment of your time, but there is a return on the investment, because then you go home and truthfully, I almost feel like when you're having a frustrating day on the farm and you go to an event with the grazing networks, it puts the wind back in your sails. So support group is a really good word for it. So that's what I think of.
Okay, my name's Susan Parry. I'm the State Grassland Conservationist for Pennsylvania Natural Resource Conservation Service. And part of the fun role of my position is to help to coordinate GLC, Grazing Lands Coalition, and their activities. The Pennsylvania Grazing Lands Coalition is a group of farmers from around Pennsylvania that believe in and apply grazing techniques on their operations. Part of what the importance is for NRCS to work with the PA Grazing Lands Coalition is that it extends our reach beyond what we can do as agency employees. We work with farmers on conservation planning, which includes grazing management, but the peer-to-peer learning within the grazing community is so important to us that we support GLC by facilitating activities and supporting them financially to be able to do that work with other farmers. So we are able to support their activities, which then grows outward. They mentor others, and then we have more folks throughout the state that are applying grazing management to their operations. We also, through the field days and pasture walks and workshops that are done in conjunction with Pennsylvania Grazing Lands Coalition, I think we reach more farmers with our activities, and part of what we do is to promote training for farmers through the Pennsylvania Grazing Lands Coalition.
What role does National GLC serve? They serve as sort of the mother of the GLCIs in the United States. There's coalitions in probably 17 to 20 different states, and they serve as the overall contact, the overall leader in the conservation and technical assistance in the United States.
So the way everything's intertwined together, you have GLC somewhat at the top. NRCS is a big part of that with funding. You have capital RC&D. You have Project Grass from the Southwest. And then we kind of trickle out and go into the local grazing groups, Franklin County, Lancaster County, Lebanon County, where we kind of do our own thing, but we rely on GLC and NRCS for technical help, support, and some financial help for paying for speakers and putting the event on.
Southwest Project Grass Grazing Group is a grazing group coalition of 14 southwestern counties in Pennsylvania. The conservation districts are all members and have a person that attends the meetings, as well as any farmer in those counties is welcome to attend. And Southwest Project Grass provides grazing assistance through a variety of avenues, whether it's field days, conferences, evening meetings, or quarterly meetings that we host as a group, our grassland evaluation contest, or our library, or our materials that we can lend out for farmers to try. Southwest Project Grass tries to host a multitude of events a year. We try to do one-day grazing walk field days where we pick a local farm in usually one of the 14 counties, and we spend a day there where we bring in specialized speakers and we highlight the farm and look at the farm's herd, their grassland grazing practices, their fencing systems, water systems.
Typical grazing groups that we've grown up with or that we've witnessed and have helped us go usually evolve around the farm itself and other farmers. Real successful ones are the ones that we've gotten the most out of, where a farmer opens up their farm and you can gather with other ones and really discuss what's happening candidly. and talk about things that work and things that don't work, and it's incredibly beneficial. And it forms a peer group that you're working with. And that's terribly important, not only for a beginning farmer, but we're also finding that these peer groups are very important for our master farmers and our training farmers, because now they've got a common goal also that they're discussing, and it's new to them. And it works very well to be able to have that group that you can lean on and go through these experiences together. Within the apprenticeship program, we've really tried to duplicate that. So part of the apprenticeship is focused on peer-to-peer learning groups and discussion groups that are touring other farms, and they're bringing together this infrastructure of this solutions building on other dairies and amongst each other, and it really creates that grazing type of a group, or that farmer group that can rely on each other and move forward, tackling problems and issues and just supporting each other. So they're incredibly important.
Well, the DGA is a really well-respected program. I'd heard about it from my coworkers and the farmer that I was working for. And I also felt like it would give us a really good background to be able to go into dairying. I feel like a lot of people in dairy have, like their whole family has done it, and they've done it for years. Generations. So we're kind of starting at a disadvantage compared to most people in dairy.
Like, we don't have family land.
Yeah.
We don't have experience. So getting the 2 years like in-depth intensive is going to be really helpful.
It's huge, yeah. And also there's coursework involved with it too, which I really appreciate, and I think that's something that's going to help us out a lot. Just to have something to take with us physically as well as the work itself.
So when I got into more grazing, we started working with a mentor. He really helped us get into more grazing, helped me convince my team that grazing was profitable, and anytime I had a question, I could bounce it off of him. As I started to go towards organic transition, I also got an organic advisor who also does grazing, so he helps do a little more technical advice on organic methods and practices. So it's very important to have someone that you can bounce ideas off of. They're not running the place, but they tell you what they would do, and then you can make your decision as you see fit.
We started grass farming about 25 years ago as a dairy farm, and we learned from a lot of people from around the United States or around the world how to graze and graze our milk cows and how to be efficient with it. Here, now that I've become older, I guess, and more seasoned, I've chose to pass some of my ideas and thoughts along to younger dairymen, and so I'm doing that probably in the last 5-8 years, going to farms through Dairy for Excellence here in Pennsylvania, and just be a listening ear and a mentor to younger people. There's so much to learn in grazing or in dairy grazing. Instead of a science, it's an art. And so it's hands-on, learn as you go. Well, you can use the scientific things, but at the end of the day, it's going to be an art for you. And so that's what I'm there to aid different farmers with, young farmers.
So when we start locally, but yet we need a state organization that sort of brings us together of where we can learn from one another and to be able to share the resources. But then that brings us into a much bigger area as well, because not only are we in Pennsylvania, but we are very unique here within the Northeast United States. Of all 11 states here, that we do have something in common. One of those things is we live within a high population of the citizens of the United States, and a lot of our desire is that we can have a good quality food and fiber, but along with that we're trying to clean up our environment as well, because when we keep the soil health alive, we are cleaning up the air, we're cleaning up the water, and we're providing wildlife, and all of this works together for what I consider sustainable. My definition of sustainable is it must feed itself and reproduce. And that is a picture and a definition of the gift of life, of which we all work together to provide.
Okay, without the work of Pennsylvania Grazing Lands Coalition and local networks that are promoting grazing, NRCS would probably not be as successful as we are in putting grazing technologies on the ground. They make our work better, and they make conservation work in Pennsylvania.